In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Albert Camus confronts us with the figure of the absurd man, an individual who relentlessly seeks meaning in his existence in a universe that appears chaotic and indifferent. This relentless quest for answers in the face of the silence of the cosmos generates a feeling of anguish and nausea, as if the absurd man were condemned to wander through a maze with no exit. The universe's indifference resembles a black hole. Everything the absurd man seeks in terms of meaning is engulfed by the vastness of the universe, leaving no traces. It is in this context that Camus proposes a reflection on the meaning of life through the lens of existentialism. Camus' existentialism is often contrasted with that of Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre believed that human beings are condemned to freedom, arguing that they are constantly making choices. On the other hand, Camus believed that humans are not condemned to a freedom of choices, but rather confronted with the absurd reality of having to find meaning in an existence that seems meaningless. For Camus, the human condition is fundamentally absurd. He compares the human condition to the myth of Sisyphus, who is condemned to roll a stone uphill, only to see it roll back down endlessly. This endless repetition of the meaningless task of rolling the stone symbolizes the absurd man's constant struggle against the futile circumstances of human existence. Camus' idea of the absurd man represents the human condition confronted with the inherent meaninglessness of existence, yet seeking meaning for his existence through revolt and the creation of his own meaning. According to Camus, the true essence of the absurd man lies in acting like the character Sisyphus from Greek mythology, who continuously pushes the stone uphill, even though he knows he must restart the task with no hope of a final resolution. However, it is during the descent downhill that this absurd man becomes aware that his true destiny is to live. To live is to do what can be done within limits, to live even when it seems there is no meaning. As individuals become aware of the absurd, they can find meaning in their existence. When we choose to embrace life even though it lacks a clear meaning, it's as if we are following in the footsteps of Sisyphus, who found meaning in his condemned life of rolling a stone endlessly. The myth of Sisyphus vividly portrays the absurd situation of human life and our incessant search for meaning, as Albert Camus discusses in his reflections on existential absurdity. At the core of Camus' existential thought lies the concept of absurdism. He argues that the human quest for meaning in an inherently chaotic and indifferent universe is futile. The absurdity of life arises from the conflict between human desire for coherence and a universe that remains indifferent to these aspirations. Camus asserts that absurdism is the disconnect between human consciousness and the irrational world. Albert Camus' concept of absurdism is a feeling experienced by individuals when confronted with the lack of meaning in their existence. For Camus, no one can escape the absurd. He describes the feeling of the absurd as something that can arise at any moment and place, profoundly impacting the individual. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, he wrote, "In a corner somewhere, the feeling of the absurd may hit the face of any man as it is, in its desolate nudity, in its dim light, something elusive." Although Albert Camus argues that man cannot escape the absurd of life, individuals have the option to resist this lack of meaning. This resistance is embodied through the revolted man, who does not passively accept the lack of meaning, but also does not seek metaphysical or transcendent solutions. Instead, he rebels against injustice, oppression, and the limitations imposed by the human condition. This revolt involves a conscious choice to deeply embrace life, even in the absence of inherent meaning. While the absurdity itself may not have a solution, it is possible to find loopholes to give meaning to life. In contrast to Camus' absurdism, the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard proposes the leap of faith as a response to the existential challenge of the lack of meaning in life. Kierkegaard emphasizes the importance of the individual's relationship with God as a source of meaning, arguing that through this leap of faith, existential meaning can be found. However, Camus fiercely rejects Kierkegaard's traditional quest through faith to find absolute meaning in life. For Camus, individuals must confront the absurdity of existence by embracing the freedom and responsibility to create their own meaning in a universe that appears cruelly indifferent to life's aspirations and questions. The moment of respite for the absurd man is during this interval when Sisyphus descends the mountain and is not bound to his eternal task, that he becomes aware of his condition and finds a brief moment of relief from the absurd burden of rolling the stone. This suggests that it is in these moments of rupture with the monotony of life that one finds room for creating personal meanings and values, even in the apparent lack of meaning in life. Remember, even in the face of the absurd of life, one must imagine Sisyphus happy.